Gingerbread man down. Clean up on aisle podcast.
Welcome to Clean Up on Aisle podcast, the dirty truth about grocery stores. This is, I guess, as close to an emergency episode as we've ever done.
No, this is by far
Not even close. It is just definitely 100% the first ever emergency episode we've done.
yeah.
Okay, hold on. I have to double check the date. It is Tuesday, January 13th, and I think we're putting out this episode on Wednesday the 14th. The Dilbert guy died. That's the important thing that we wanted to talk about.
After we shed our tears and compose ourselves.
Well, I mean, we should say he's like a pretty nasty dude. Like Dilbert got like this. He didn't get canceled in the like social media sense. Like the strip got taken out of newspapers after he said some remarkably racist stuff. He had already been saying a lot of bad stuff, but he just like went full, I'm a racist man. And this is, and they got rid of the comics.
And this is 2022.
Yeah, this is pretty recent.
Yeah, right.
But so we're not here to mourn Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy. But like I've mentioned this on the show before. I've brought up the Dilberito at least twice.
I would say maybe 3 times.
It's 6 months since we've been doing the podcast. Yeah. We're going to get all into the Dilberito, but the Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy, invented a frozen burrito in the 1990s, early 2000s. We are going to talk so much about it.
Yeah.
But just to set the stage for this record right now. So I do a morning show here in Joshua Tree, and we do the entertainment news at around 9:30 on our show. And I'm checking TMZ up till the minute we go on the air to make sure that if stuff is happening, we can get the word out first. We'd love it if you could hear it from us first.
That might have gotten shaken up.
Okay, I'm about to crack a beer. We're fine.
Okay.
So I'm checking TMZ, and Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy, announced last year that he had terminal prostate cancer. And I think early this year, he kind of said, hey, it's going to be a month of transition for me. And I think he was in hospice care. And it was announced today, I think at like 9:15 or so, that he had passed. And I went live on the radio with it. I surprised my co-host pretty seriously. I think he had been keeping up with the drama surrounding Scott Adams. But I broke the news to my co-host on the air, and I kind of we really try to avoid politics on the morning show. And it's hard to talk about Scott Adams without talking too much about politics. But it's very clear. I think that you are allowed to say somebody's like a huge racist, right?
If it's a factual statement like
it is
that. I think there is a threshold at which somebody can be so much of a piece of crap, piece of shit, that, yeah, I think it's fine. Did you get any complaints?
No, I don't think people would complain if you call a racist.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I think I surprised my co-host by coming in a little hot on the matter, and it's a little bit of a hotter topic than we usually hit in the entertainment news.
Sure.
Usually we want to make fun of Millie Bobby Bon Jovi, because she married John Bon Jovi's son.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So the girl from Stranger Things is now officially known as Millie Bobby Bon Jovi.
Okay, it's very funny.
That's super funny. Yeah. That's the kind of level that we're trying to hit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to call out a racist cartoonist for, years of racism. But that's how I found out this morning, and that was my situation. How did you find out, Adam?
Somewhere on the internet, and I just kind of shrugged.
Okay.
It was not really the atom bomb in my life. It was just like, oh, and I kind of moved on. And then Jef said, we got to talk about it. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. And
all right. I texted you as soon as, I think I might have texted you before I was off the air.
Yeah.
I actually had I was going to message you about the show. I've got a big list of people I wanted to contact, and I had it saved and ready to go. I didn't want to send it to you too early this morning. I actually deleted that list of people. And I'm like, oh, I lost that list because it was so important for me that we do the Dilberito episode.
It's really funny.
So yeah, I've talked about the Dilberito a bunch. I'm obsessed with Scott Adams and Dilbert and the Dilberito. I've been thinking about this all day, and I was like getting all these thoughts in my head, and I'm like, we should just record right away. So you had actually texted me about going to the dog park here in Yucca Valley. And I said, no, we have to do an screw these dogs. Let's do an emergency podcast about the Dilberito.
Uh-huh.
How's your dog?
He's good. He's asleep right now.
Okay.
He's doing great.
You could have taken him to the dog park.
Nah, there's too much stuff going on.
Yeah, well, we had to prepare this emergency podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, rip in peace to Dilbert guy.
Yeah.
Not a nice guy. We're not here to sing his praises.
Pieces, yeah.
What did the people say? Rest in piss?
Yeah, rest in piss.
I guess this is the part of the show where I say that I was a huge Dilbert fan as a kid. Huge Dilbert fan.
Compare it to other 90s, including Calvin and Hobbes, but other 90s comics. Rank it, who is above it and who's below it?
Okay, so I mean, we should say, like, I've worked as a cartoonist. I love comics. You're a big comics reader. You've dabbled in comics making as well.
Sure.
And I loved, like, I think I would say I learned to read from, like, the Garfield books.
Okay. Those thick ones, I remember.
Not they're like kind of they look like an index card shape, but maybe a little bit wonkier than that.
Yeah.
And I was always reading those. And then I think I got some Far Side books when I made my way through all of the Garfield stuff. You get a little older, you get into the Far Side stuff. I was always a big Calvin and Hobbes fan, but when I got Dilbert, that really struck a chord for me.
Why?
It is, so I will even tell you, like, the first Dilbert book I got, I'm sure I'd been reading it in the newspaper. In the LA Times, which we got in Long Beach, Dilbert wasn't on the funny pages. They would print him in the business section.
Okay.
And
it's so funny to me right now. Okay.
Because it's
important news.
But yeah, it was like this page of, like, all the stocks were in, like, financial analyses, and then it was just the 3 dumb panels of Dilbert.
Did you feel kind of like a grown-up reading it?
Absolutely. Well, very much so. I don't know if I must have started reading it in the newspaper, but, like, for whatever reason, the very first Dilbert book, like the collected strips, made its way into my hands. Maybe I bought it at Borders or whatever, but the first few years of Dilbert are not really office focused.
What's the focus?
It's just kind of like a banal, like, comic about a man and his dog.
Okay.
Like, it's a lot of them hanging out at the house, and then the dog makes fun of Dilbert.
So it's Garfield, but with a dog?
Yeah, but I really connected with the sense of humor.
Okay.
So, like, this is so embarrassing. I'm like,
well, whatever.
Yeah. No, this is the thing I'm about to say is the embarrassing thing.
Okay.
I was, like, spending a week at my grandparents, and they are Surly Farm people. And I was, like, begging my grandpa to read the Dilbert comic strip collection. And I'm like, he ain't gonna read. He ain't gonna, like, he's too surly to read anything, but, Clive Cussler, is that a guy that grandpa would read?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm trying to get him to just read, like, this completely inane, stupid comic strip. I was, like, so into Dilbert at the time.
So, okay. I'm not judging. I didn't read the early ones. I know of Dilbert as office-based humor. So that's why it's, even like, it's taking Scott Adams out of it. It's strange to me that, like, a 10-year-old kid is going to be connecting to that office humor.
Absolutely. I definitely did feel, as you said, like, a little bit of a grown-up, but this is the comic for grown-ups. And I did get the subsequent strips. I don't actually know if they republished much of that early run where it's before the Office stuff. Like, I think the Office stuff took off, and so they kept that stuff in print. But I would buy all of the Office books, and I would read and read and read them and, like, love them. I think that it would probably be Calvin and Hobbes and then Dilbert, to answer that question that you asked a long time ago. And then, like, Far Side and Garfield, and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I was reading at the time.
I don't know. Those are the main ones.
Yeah. So that's kind of my ranking. I was really, really into Dilbert.
Okay.
And
so, okay, again, trying to take Scott Adams out of the equation.
And we should say that Scott Adams, I mean, maybe he was just secretly a bad guy at the time, but he didn't, like, go full villain mode until like the 2010, or the 2000s, I guess. Post Dilberito. All right.
Yeah. So, but it's okay. So taking him out of the equation, what were you connecting to? Explain it to me. I'm still
it's hard to describe. There's like a really kind of wry sense of humor that I don't know if it's good. I have not reread Dilbert in 20 years. Like I stopped reading Dilbert in high school and never went back to reading. I never revisited Dilbert, but it just maybe it did feel a little grown up, but I do remember just thinking it was the funniest thing. And a lot has been said about Scott Adams being a bad cartoonist. I do think he draws things funny. Like he's not, drawing like Bill Watterson, but he has a funny way of drawing. Like there's the lips on the boss and just the way that people talk to each other. And like
the characters are uniquely shaped in a way that's immediately memorable. Yeah.
I'm not going to like defend Scott Adams as an artist, but I do think he like was hitting something. Like there's something that speaks to people on that. And I don't think it was unique for kids to enjoy Dilbert at the time, even though it was primarily office focused. Like, what is it? They always talked about the TTP reports or something like that. I don't know what a TTP report is, but you can still get the joke despite not getting a specific office reference.
Totally. But I'm also your age.
Yeah.
And I read the funny papers, and I completely just my eyes just went straight over.
You bounced off of it hard.
Yeah, it never once connected to me. So that's why I am kind of curious as to why.
I think there's like a snark to it. I think it's like a cynicism and a distrust of authority and a snark that I think I connected to. I don't know. And there's wordplay. Like I remember some of the things that really stuck out to me about the pre-office Dilbert strips was like the wordplay, and that carried through into the office stuff. So yeah, that's what I responded to.
Clearly, just on an objective level, even with the office stuff, like he was connecting to people. Like it wouldn't have been a sensation if he wasn't connecting to people. So he had something there. I get that.
I think a bit of the Scott Adams lore, and we should talk about the larger picture of comic strips in the 1990s as well. Let's start there. Let's start with. So I do have the timeline. I did put together a little timeline of like the Dilbert thing. Scott Adams, I think he was born in like 1963. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I've got it on his About Us, 1957. So that's Boomer, right?
Yes, that's Boomer.
Big time Boomer, and works a bunch of office jobs and tech companies and things like that. And he starts Dilbert in 1989. I got a little bit of the background from I just told you the name of the podcast that Behind the Bastards, where they kind of did a deep dive into like his work history and his background, just trying to find out what informed his nastiness. We can kind of stay away from that at the moment. But he's working for tech companies and a bank until he submits Dilbert and it gets syndicated in 1989. So that's when it starts.
Okay.
And the 80s, like 1989 is like a huge heyday for comic strips. Like you asked me to kind of dig into maybe more the 90s of it. And I think the 90s is like the tail end of like... It's like the mid 80s to the mid 90s, I would say. I mean, it's really the heydays of your Calvin and Hobbes's, your Far Sides. I mean, you could argue Kathy was a pretty big watershed comic strip at the time. Doonesbury. And he changed the name of the strip so many times, but the Berkeley Breathed one with Opus the Penguin and the cat.
Opus the Penguin, yeah.
I forget what it was called at the time.
I forget.
Was it Outland or it might have been
Outland?
He brought it back with a different name like every time. It was Opus for a while, it was Outland, but whatever that one was. And that one I almost completely missed on the funny pages. Like I'm 84 and
me too.
Like, I think I maybe saw one or two of those Berkeley Breathes strips in the newspaper.
I never, and also like when, I don't know, is that a 80s thing?
Yeah, it's more 80s. Like that in Doonesbury's, I don't know if it's still running, but Doonesbury went on into the 2000s. But those, when I think of 80s comics, I think of like Kathy, Berkeley Breathed, and Doonesbury. And then even though Farside and Calvin and Hobbes kind of started in the 80s, they really got big in the 90s. They're kind of like the next big thing. And then, you know, that was always the legacy strips, of course.
Garfield and
Family Circus. I was a huge Garfield fan. Loved Family Circus. And, you know, it varies by what you get in your hometown paper, but I think most newspapers had those strips around this time.
Beetle Bailey.
I just read a big article about Beetle Bailey.
Really?
The Comics Journal. Yes. They were taught. So I if we can digress a little bit, Moore Walker just started Beetle Bailey, and did he do High and Lois? I think also, but Beetle Bailey is what he's really more known for. And they were comparing, and this does tie back into Dilbert too. They were comparing the beauty of the early Beetle Bailey strips when it first started. They it's on the Comics Journal, tcj.com, where it used to be something really spectacular and wonderful. They reprinted this Sunday strip that shows how the army-based newspaper gets made, and it's got 2 new characters on every page and all this dialogue and narrative, and it like moves the paper from thing to thing. And then at the end of the day, all they care about is the comic strip at the end. And it's just like a lovely, fully realized, fully rendered, action-filled narrative, all done in, 9 or 12 panels. Then they compared it to a more modern Beetle Bailey, where it's just 2 people walking and talking about a third guy. And it's like there's the suggestion of buildings in the background. It's like the same static shot over and over. There's like no detail. It's like a much more stripped down cartoon. And that's kind of the way that newspapers were. Like comic strips used to be an essential draw in the newspaper. And as they got smaller and smaller, it was, why would I put all the time and work into this? Like the money, I'm not getting paid this much, and you can't see the detail I'm putting into it. So just keep it simple, keep it clean. And that's what a strip like Dilbert did. It was very stripped down, very to the point, it connected with people. Whereas like the 80s, 90s cartoons, like Calvin and Hobbes is one of the best drawn ones around. Gary Trudeau, considered the guy from Doonesbury, considered a very talented artist, and the Outland, the Berkeley Breathe stuff, really striking cartooning. So the overall direction of newspaper comics moves to a more simpler, more stripped down, more 1, 2, 3 standard joke kind of thing.
Why?
Space was getting more limited. Editors didn't want to give space. Like they're like, if we can squeeze in more comics, like it used to be like, pages and pages of comics, and then they squeeze it down to the 2 pages. You get smaller and smaller space. So you have smaller words to work with and smaller images to work with.
I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about workplaces in the 90s, but maybe that echoes some of the changes that Dilbert is making fun of.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And again, Bill Watterson talks about this extensively in his Calvin and Hobbes 10th anniversary book, which if you're interested in comics, that's invaluable resource. So Dilbert is happening in 89 while Calvin and Hobbes is happening, while Farside is happening, while all these great masterworks are happening. And it does start getting popular. He started putting his email address in the Dilbert strips.
What, do you have any roughly? I mean, it would have been probably 93 or 90.
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah.
He was the first person to do it, and people started giving him feedback and saying, we like the office jokes, more office jokes. Hey, listen to what happened at my office. So Dilbert's gaining a little bit of momentum as it starts refocusing on the office thing. And in 1995, Calvin and Hobbes and the Farside both go away. Like Bill Watterson and Gary Larson are just like, they're back. They've been on hiatus, and it's been like in and out and like doing a lot of repages, and like, we are done. And that leaves a huge void for a new comic to come in and fill up some of those spaces.
Yeah.
And Dilbert is a very obvious choice for a lot of newspaper editors.
Okay. So I want to talk about just Okay, well, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But so you don't think that it's you think it was like kind of right place, right time sort of thing?
I mean, again, I loved it as a kid, so I'm like, of course. I mean, yes, right place, right time, but also like I thought it was a very good comic. So I'm not saying like it's not deserved, but it was definitely on the ascent when like Berkeley Breathed was wrapping up, and then you got the 1-2 punch in '95. I mean, probably a little bit of right place, right time.
So one of the things that I keep thinking about is you compare the 90s to right now, and can you imagine a comic, especially a silly comic strip, like being a cultural phenomenon? Like, can you imagine even anybody putting up a little comic strip in their cubicle or office or something like that? And, these days, like a regular mom or whatever, like this was a part of culture that people would share and talk of, regular people, not comics nerds. And like, that's kind of wild if you think about it, where we are now.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer as a guy that loves comics.
Right.
My aunts loved Doonesbury. They'd always talk to me about the funny pages, and I'd be like, "You got to check out Dilbert. You got to check out Calvin and Hobbes." Like, no, we read the more sophisticated stuff. But it was, I mean, it's part of that monoculture. It's part of newspapers going away. And again, I think Bill Watterson would certainly say this. I think this is part of his thesis in his 10th anniversary Calvin and Hobbes book, that it was a bit of a race to the bottom, where it's like, and you could probably say this is going on with corporate culture as well in the 90s and 2000s, but it's like, well, we can maximize profits by shrinking these comics, and then as the comics shrink, then you start working towards what the actual side, like Beetle Bailey, it starts to lose some of the grace and some of the design and some of the joy, and becomes a simpler and simpler thing because Mort Walker's trying to give the editors what they want so that he can have a job. And it's a little bit of a race to the bottom. It's like, make the comics dumber and simpler and uglier so that we can squeeze more of them on the page. And I think that ended up losing a lot of people.
Interesting. I mean, I'm thinking of, that understanding comics where like the smaller it gets, the more simple, like you literally can't have details if they push it small enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I love Bazooka Joe. That's the smallest comic I can think of. But the something was definitely lost from the 80s to the 90s. And it wasn't just like specific comic strips. It's like Bill Watterson was literally fighting for space on the newspaper page. He's like, I do not want my stuff to be run this small. He was trying to rethink how the newspaper page could work for the 90s, and he did, and it worked for him and a few other guys, but it did also go back to just, hey, it's Dilbert, and we can run it however we want, and we can shrink it as much as we'd like, and you'll still be able to get the joke.
For anybody who is younger and might be listening, I can remember very vividly opening up the funny pages, seeing a like double row Calvin and Hobbes, and it being like a beautiful work of art that you like open up, and it's like was stunning, and it leapt off the page, and it was such like a special thing that happened for a short amount of time, I guess.
I mean, no, because comics were beautiful in the early part of the 20th century. I mean, look at Little Nemo is the great example that I always cite. It's one of the most sumptuous things to look at. It's a full page of strips. Each one's its own little narrative. And it's a piece of magic. It's a beautiful piece of artwork. Like, people love Crazy Cat. I've always struggled a little bit with Crazy Cat, but I mean, you look at that, and that is like something that is like, you're not going to see that anywhere else. It's spectacular stuff.
Totally.
So it's a shame that it's been lost. But here in 2025, we've lost so many things, right, Adam?
Well, we lost Scott Adams.
But so that's, I think, why Dilbert kind of popped off in the 90s, but also was it representative of like the time? You said you've got some cubicle culture.
So that's what I started to research a lot about. So one of my big things that I've never understood is why in 1997 to 1999 you have The Matrix, you have Office Space, you have Dilbert, you have all of the. There's probably a lot more.
I would, I've heard it said, and I watched this show, but people say that Drew Carey had a career because he looks like Dilbert.
Interesting. I mean, he also had Cubicle with what's that lady's name?
Mimi.
Yeah. So, and it's like, it's interesting to me because right now there's so many different, like our economic, our work, our relationship to work right now, everybody is so different that the idea of having like a stable job where you get benefits and like you have your own space and like, yeah, you have to make some frustrating reports or whatever, but that's your job. Like that seems enticing to a lot of people. And that culture is much smaller than it was. So anyway.
I think that still exists, but
Yeah.
it's not as like everybody's got that kind of job.
Right. So I started to try to, I don't know how I got really deep. So I'll probably try to scale back on how deep I go, but it comes from something called, or it comes from the Chicago School of Economics, which really sort of kicks off and starts to get converse in about the 70s and the 80s. And their thesis is that, Milton Friedman's big quote is, the social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. And basically, it has to do with what they call financialization. So these corporations were trying to almost literally create money. Like they were trying to create value that didn't really exist. And it wasn't value by selling a widget to a customer. It wasn't a value by inventing a new widget. It was more about how can we maximize what we already have and prove that we are in this sort of constant state of growth. And this is what the 80s and the 90s really were all about. So you had all these business graduates who would come in and they would just be constantly cutting, and they would be constantly measuring, which is the big part of it. They measuring, so why are in office space, do they have to make all these TPS reports? Well, that's why. Mm-hmm. They need constant measurement so that they can prove to someone, eventually then the market or the bank, that they are growing and they're worth more money, so give us more money. And they're basically, this is the squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go way back, Karl Marx has a something he calls alienation. And the alienation in a very simple form is that a worker under capitalism is removed from what they're actually doing. Like they could be just turning a screw all day and they have no idea what the machine is that they're building. And that's alienation. And
it's not the show with the guys with the freckled heads, the bald guys with the freckled heads.
No, but
alienation.
Yeah,
yes,
maybe they were inspired by that. Who knows? I thought of that when I was writing it down. Karl Marx is like, well, human beings are creative people. Human beings want to want to make something. So to remove them from that, it creates this sort of dissonance that you're just sort of living with this uncomfortable feeling surrounding your work. So that's the heart of it. And then you fast forward all the way to the 90s or the 80s, and the alienation is so removed from like, what are you actually doing? Like I'm sending an email or I'm printing out a page, but where is it go? What is this actually doing? Mm-hmm. And this is kind of, in a lot of ways we still are in that, but I think that this was the first time that people were reckoning with it in the computer and the internet era. Mm-hmm. So why was it so popular? Because there were a lot of those jobs because they needed more reports and they needed people to make those reports on other people who had to make reports. And B, it was new. It was a brand new way of working, sitting in front of a computer, everybody in the way that they were doing in the 90s. So, yeah.
So, again, I've had some bad office jobs.
Yeah.
And there's I don't know if it's ennui would be the right word for it, but mm-hmm. kind of a overall dissatisfaction with a place in the life. And Dilbert reflected that in a very big way.
Yeah.
It has a reader of Dilbert. It is like they are doing the thing and they're saying, why am I doing this thing? Like that is a big question. I was a middle school student with a lot of ennui, for sure. That's probably why I could relate to that too. But it was about that uniquely 1990s office culture. It was, Kathy had a job and Dagwood has a job, and I'm trying to think which other comic strip characters. Marmaduke's dad had a job. But this is the one where it's like actually about the job. And people could probably really relate to that in the 1990s. That's why it was in the business section at the LA Times, because it was for business people.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we got a good backstory.
Okay.
Let's talk about Scott Adams.
Well,
unless you got...
No. So, okay. It actually ties in narratively to exactly what we were going to talk about. And again, little silly for my ass as well, but Scott Adams started writing business books. Are you aware of this?
Before Dilbert?
No, after Dilbert.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So I think this is the first one. His first one was 1996. It's called The Dilbert Principle.
Yeah.
And it's a humorous book, but it's about business. And he is taking the turn and he's like, I'm not just a cartoonist who is speaking to a generation. I'm also an author and thinker that can speak to a generation. And he did. It sold big, this book, The Dilbert Principle.
Sure.
I read it when I was, if it came out in 1996, then I was 12 years old reading the comical business book. I did read the second book as well, called The Dilbert Future, which is not as good of a book, but he starts to get into, first of all, I believe it's The Dilbert Future, which is the first mention of the Dilberito concept, at least. So I promise we are going to talk about food.
In grocery stores.
But let's get back to the Dilberito. And like, I remember reading the Dilbert Future. And I don't remember reading the Dilbert Principle because it's more about business. And I thought it was funny and charming enough that I bought the second book. But the Dilbert Future was extremely dumb to me, a 12-year-old. Or I guess if it came out a couple years, maybe a 13-year-old. It's like him making like weird Star Trek jokes. He's like, oh, if people had transporters in real life, then all your neighbors would steal all your stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, I guess I was looking for something a bit more deeper. And then he started to get into his philosophy of the world. The Dilbert Future ends with him talking about, I never read The Secret, but people compare it to The Secret. It's about him writing his affirmations. Like, he's like, I never thought I'd be a great cartoonist. And then I write in a piece of paper 100 times every morning, I am going to be a syndicated cartoonist. And lo and behold, I beat the odds and I'm a syndicated cartoonist. So he credits his rise with, I guess, manipulating reality. Is that was my takeaway. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure I tried it once or twice. Complicated relationship with pop magic and stuff like that. But that might have been the moment where I was like, oh, maybe a little done with the Scott Adams guy.
I believe in that one he also mentions his theory of gravity.
Which I don't remember that.
Which is that he thinks gravity is that everything is like falling towards each other, but also that space is expanding. And like basically he kind of invented a physics to explain a pretty kooky concept. It's hard for me to put it in.
I've heard other cartoonists and people, but Neil Adams is a famous Batman artist from the 1970s who is a big proponent of the expanding Earth theory.
Yeah. This is expanding space-time.
I do. Now that you're mentioning this, I do remember reading this, and I'm like, I was 13, and I've been impressed by silly ideas before. I was not terribly impressed with Scott Adams' silly ideas in this regard. So this is kind of his first turn into like guru Scott Adams. He's, he did connect with people with that comic strip. He connected with me.
Sure.
But this is him saying, actually, this is how you should live your life. Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I also maybe want to say that the Dilbert Principle itself, it's kind of almost an interesting theory about corporate culture.
What is that theory?
It is that the least qualified person will get promoted as a way of getting them away from the actual productivity that's happening on the floor.
I'm sure I've definitely read that book, but that was like so uninteresting for me to consider it. Like that's where it tipped over from being cute and fun and wry and sarcastic into like, oh, this is just like about business. I don't know what that means. Like, when you tell me you're taking your incompetent employees away, like that lost me. And then he really lost me with the dumb science stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess my point is that on some level, for a while, he was still fairly tuned into the frustrations of regular worker and regular people.
Yes.
And but when he's talking about expanding gravity, like he's in a different ballpark.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a little full of himself, maybe.
Yeah.
When it comes time to the Dilbert future. And
I wonder when he built that pool. Do you have any idea?
what pool?
Oh, at his home, his pool is in the shape of Dilbert's head.
Fun. I mean, look, that's kind of like a guitar pool. I don't look. Okay, so much of the things that I think are cool or neat are like, okay, I've been in a relationship for 15 years, so I'm not bringing girls home, but I'm like, if you brought a girl home and said, would you like to go like into my Dilbert shaped pool? The girl would run away screaming, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I would not want to go swimming in a Dilbert shaped pool. And
No.
it must do bad stuff for the resale value of the house as well.
Yeah.
Because the new guy that buys the house, who's another rich guy that exists right now? If Harry Styles buy the Dilbert guy's house, and Harry Styles tries to bring a lady home and say, "Come swim in my Dilbert pool," she's gonna run away screaming from Harry Styles. He's Harry Styles. He's not cool enough to overcome the Dilbert pool.
So I'm trying to find a picture of the Dilbert pool. He also has a castle in the shape of Dilbert at his house.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what Tim Robinson's making fun of with the Garfield house in that one skit.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder when in this arc he starts to do all this stuff. Probably.
He starts getting really weird. And I lost touch with Scott Adams. Like, I kept up with the Dilberito, which came out in 1999, first mentioned in the Dilbert future. Love to circle back to the Dilberito. But I reconnected with Scott Adams post Dilberito in like, I guess the 2015, 2016. He started becoming an extremely political and toxic person online.
Yeah.
When so many of our terror celebrities decided that they wanted to get political and toxic online.
Yeah.
Is that because Twitter gave them the opportunity to, or was it because they just like all wanted to do a heel turn, as so much of the world has made a heel turn since 2015?
I wonder. Maybe it's Twitter, or maybe it's just, the heel turn that the internet and Fox News and everything has been able to make.
Yes.
His claim to fame of that period is that he called it like a year or two early that Donald Trump was going to get elected president because he felt like he had the confidence of a president.
What the kids call the Riz these days.
That's right. And everybody laughed, and then unfortunately that happened.
I mean, Donald Trump tweeted about Scott Adams' death today.
That's funny.
He said, "Thank you to Scott Adams for supporting me when so few would. You seemed like a nice guy," or something to that effect, which, if you know anything about Scott Adams, he doesn't seem like a nice guy.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into the toxicity of late period Scott Adams, but very kind of he like was constantly marrying like all these young people who were very clearly like, oh, we're just doing it for the money. And
maybe they were into the pool.
What?
Maybe they were into the pool.
Nobody's into the fucking Dilbert pool. Nobody could possibly want to swim in the Dilbert pool except for the Dilbert guy.
Yeah.
But like, he did all these like blog posts about bad politics and like how he's going to give you an orgasm.
Right. Wait, he said he was going to hypnotize you into having the best orgasm of your life.
Just by reading his blog post or whatever. I saw one of our friends posted a collection of his tweets. I don't know if they're all from the same time or whatever, but he talks about how, these are all from April 17th, 2022. And he just lists off like facts about him. Like he's been assaulted at knife point 2 times. He has healed himself from his ailments several times. I'm looking for that one specifically. But he was like convinced, a number of incurable health issues I cured in myself. 3. He didn't cure this one that he died from today, of course. Prostate cancer. Apparently quite nasty.
Yeah.
But just like a real like deluded kind of psycho guy. And he kept still doing Dilbert until about 2022. And despite his relatively toxic online presence, most newspapers were keen to run it.
Yeah.
I this is not my observation. This is something that I'm obsessed with late period Dilbert. So the Comics Journal, again, ran a couple of years ago. I think before, maybe it was right after Dilbert was canceled in 2022, but the narrative of the strip shifted since the 2000s. So it used to be Dilbert was our main character, and the other characters, the triangle-haired lady and the bald guy with the lips, were all maybe not the most competent, but they were more competent than their boss, which is kind of be like the Dilbert principle in action. And at some point, Scott Adams flipped the script as he got richer and more powerful and more successful. The dumb boss became the protagonist of the strip.
Yeah, that's so funny.
He like made the dumb boss look cooler. He made him slim down. He put him in a better outfit.
Oh, that's so funny.
And he was the guy who was managing all these dummies. He can't believe how dumb the people he works with are. The boss, he's got these incompetent people behind him or beneath him.
I mean, this is exactly what I'm saying, where he's losing touch with exactly what connected him, which was the plight of a regular working stiff.
Yeah, and I've seen some of these like ones where the boss is the protagonist and they're insane. And it's like, who could enjoy this? But it, like so many comic strips, I don't want to know if I want to name and shame any comic strips, but so many comic strips have momentum and legacy, and they will keep going until somebody does something really, really horrible.
Yeah.
And do you know what the Scott Adams horrible stuff was? You ready to say what he said?
Yeah. I mean, he was real racist.
Just blatantly, like he does so much podcast, like, and this is another thing with Scott Adams. It's like, it's not enough that he's a successful author and cartoonist. He's also like, I do a daily podcast, and then I'm like constantly streaming on Twitch. He's just like very much in need of attention. And on one of these like online streams, he just said something like out and out, fully racist, like completely, utterly, straight up racist. And the newspapers all canceled Dilbert. They said like that.
Yeah, I can say it. It's not. It doesn't use a slur.
It doesn't have any slurs in it. But
the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away.
And I think he doubled down on all of that too. Like he repeated it several other times. And so the newspapers were like, "Oh, well, we haven't thought about Dilbert in a minute, but let's cancel Dilbert."
Yeah.
And then he started doing it on like a pay service where if you subscribe to Dilbert, you could see Dilbert cuss now.
Oh, interesting.
I did see the first
Dirty Dilbert
post canceled, like the post like subscribers only Dilbert, and it has Dilbert saying fuck in the first panel, I think.
Oh.
So he's really, really getting into being a nasty guy.
Yeah.
And then he died in he got several more divorces, and then now he's dead.
Yeah,
allegedly. I think he only got divorced twice in like the last 20 years.
Yeah, I'm still so broken up about it.
I know. We're not endorsing Scott Adams, despite my affection for the comics way back in the 90s. So I guess this is the time we've given the Scott Adams and the Dilbert rundown.
Yeah.
Now it's perhaps the time to talk about the Dilberito.
Let's do it.
So we have a lot to say in this. I've tracked down so much fun stuff about the Dilberito, and it is like the comic strip Dilbert, it is a symptom of some sourer things in our society, and it has been often replicated to, I guess, slightly more success. If you're asking what the heck is a Dilberito, Scott Adams decided that he was going to make a burrito, frozen burrito, and with a unique twist or two, which I'm obsessed with. I guess I want to start, like, we've been talking about the history of comics, and like the Dilberito must be discussed within some of the context of like comic book tie-ins, or not comic strip tie-ins, cartoon tie-ins, which that's something when we go to the grocery store, I'm endlessly fascinated on like what is getting a tie-in, like tie-ins with, I'm going to be very honest with you, tie-ins with like children's stuff makes me extremely uncomfortable.
What's an example?
I think like a parent I know has talked about like Paw Patrol's like yogurt drinks,
right?
Or even when we were
Dora the Explorer,
or like
SpongeBob,
putting SpongeBob or Ghostbusters or whatever. Like it feels insanely crass to me that you're like, hey, I know that some of these children's properties are designed specifically to sell merchandise, but when you're putting on like oh, this is for like 3-year-olds, and then we're going to put this on like a product that is probably pretty bad for them.
Yeah.
It really like, it's been hard for me to like wrap my head around. And I'm getting to that. We talked about this a little bit on the Lunchables episode of the podcast.
That's right.
I find it like so diabolical and cynical that it like makes my skin crawl, and I don't actually like to look at it or engage with it in any real way. Like I really find it upsetting. And I think I've felt that way since I was like that age, like not 3, but like when I was like 10, I'd go home and read Dilbert after the grocery store, and I'd be like, I can't believe how like crass and cynical this is. And like, it just really bums me out and makes me upset. And I'm getting upset talking about it. Mm-hmm. That said, there's a grand tradition of cartoon tie-ins with food products.
Okay.
I remember, I think I was at a police station and I got a box of Donald Duck orange juice.
Why are we at a police station?
My dad was like paying some kind of parking ticket. I don't know. Have you ever you've been at a police station recently? They have the worst vending machines.
Yeah, sure. So Donald Duck orange. I've had Donald Duck orange.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It was warm, and I didn't want to finish it.
Yeah,
and I was like really sad. I'm like, not that I'm some big Donald Duck fan, but I'm like, there's like marketed to kids. We're really who was a 25-year-old with a hot, cool Dilbert pool and a bunch of pop albums isn't going to buy the Donald Duck orange juices for kids. And it's just ruined and bad, right?
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. It tastes really, I mean, it's from concentrate, but it's from the worst concentrate.
I mean, I think the whole practice of just slapping cartoon characters on whatever is like kind of reprehensible. But it's a grand tradition of it. I mean, we haven't really mentioned Charles Schultz on this episode.
Yeah. Those characters are everywhere.
I mean, people consider it, like I've heard Peanuts described as like a 60-year-long haiku, and that it's like beautiful and poetic, but also those same beautiful and poetic characters will sell you life insurance.
Right.
It's like it feels sinister. And so there is a grand tradition of cartoon characters, comic strip characters selling you stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll probably dig into this more and more as the show goes on.
Yeah, right.
But I don't remember like Garfield ever having a frozen lasagna that you could go buy.
No, he just had a lot of merch, but I don't remember Garfield. I mean, I'm sure someone will, whatever, we could find it, but I don't remember it.
No,
definitely no Calvin and Hobbes.
Well, Calvin, that was Bill Watterson's whole thing. He refused to let his characters be merchandise in any way. And the only merchandise that ever came out was the bootleg Calvin peeing on stuff. But like Garfield was on everything. Kathy on everything. I drink my coffee out of a Kathy mug. And Dilbert, no less merchandise, like super heavily merchandised. But none of these comic strip characters had been used so much to like do food. Like maybe in the 50s, 60s, I'm sure, they put Blondie on, cans of sausages, Vienna sausages, Blondie.
Yeah. But
it shouldn't have struck such a chord with me to see the Dilbert burrito thing. And this is a positive chord. The Dilbert, when I was like, this was first mentioned in 1997, I was 13. I hated the Dilbert future, but he talks about the Dilberito in that book. He says, we all have to eat. What if there was like a type of food that you could just eat one of and would have all of your nutrition in it for the day, and it tasted good and it was portable. He's like, what would they call it? A Goldilocks planet, when it's like similar to Earth and has everything that we need. This is like him talking about the Goldilocks frozen burrito, because it will be everything one person could ever need in a day in one hit, and it will be inexpensive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was planning on making it when he was writing about it.
Yeah.
But he was theorizing about it, and then they announced it. I think 98, 99. I must have seen it in, maybe Entertainment Weekly. Maybe it was mentioned in the LA Times.
Yeah.
I couldn't
It was definitely, I found a lot of people talking about articles that were written.
Yeah.
It was a huge media blitz. I could say that. It's hard to find the actual articles. But
and this is pre-internet, for me at least, or maybe like early days of internet. But I was so excited about this. Like, I love food, and I was like, this is so cool. Dilbert's doing a burrito, and it sounds really fun and exciting. And then I just eat that one thing the day, and then I'm good until like whenever.
So, okay. Yeah.
I have to admit, I was really, really stoked about it. I did.
Did you ever get it?
Well, this is the ad. This is like the promotional picture that I remember from when I was a kid.
All right.
It is Scott Adams in a chef hat and a sweater, holding up a plate of Dilberitos and then the box of Dilberitos and then a stand-up of Dilbert with a thought balloon that says, "Now what?" But I was ready for this. I was like the target audience for this product, and I've never seen one in real life, ever. Have you ever seen one in real life?
No. So I was able to find his website.
Oh, I got the website too.
Yeah. And he claims that on the West Coast, they're at Safeway stores, which is big. And then immediately he goes to much smaller places that we as grocery store experts, I've never heard of. Maybe you have. Andronico's, Cala, Lunardi's, PW, Menloville, and Oliver's Market. So basically what it seems like is he got a couple big fish and then that was and probably at a really, really small quantity. Yeah. And then he got a bunch of little mom and pop kind of things. And
I heard that, well, spoiler alert, it was a big flop, and we'll get into why it was a big flop. But I heard towards the end of the run of Dilberitos, circa 2003, it was available in like gas stations and 7-Elevens, which, to be fair, part of Scott Adams' ethos with starting this company is like people should have nutrition on the go. So I will tell you his two like guiding premises for inventing the Dilberito, aside from making money. He's a naked capitalist. He is very much like, I do comics to make money. I write books to make money. I like having a lot of money. But he said he was traveling a lot. He was doing speaking engagements. He was like doing corporate speaking engagements pre-Dilberito. And he was having a hard time finding vegetarian food. I believe he was a vegetarian.
yeah.
And that ties into when I said that he thinks he can cure himself of his diseases.
Yeah.
Part of that is like, well, diet's a huge factor in that. And by eating vegetarian, I am not susceptible to the same bad things that omnivores are susceptible to.
I mean, Steve Jobs had the same thing. This is a Silicon Valley kind of mindset.
He's a San Francisco boy. I mean, in his adult life, he was in San Francisco. So he's very tech-minded as well.
Yeah.
And as a guy who eats meat, I wouldn't discount that. I'm sure that like the meat that I'm eating is probably not doing good things for my body. So I'm not discounting that. Maybe that's a debate for another day.
So my only thing about this is, and Scott actually sort of agrees with me on this one, is I'm a big believer in fiber. That's pretty much, actually, no, I'm looking at it right now. This doesn't have that much fiber. It doesn't have 100% of your daily fiber.
Okay.
I just think regardless of what you need to be eating a ton of fiber, because basically that just slows everything else down and it allows your body to pick and choose what it absorbs.
Okay.
That's basically it.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm just a huge believer in it.
So I'm probably not getting enough personally.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he wanted this to do, I mean, in the sense, this is more of the Dilbert tie-in, because like he's rich enough, he's successful enough, he didn't have to call it the Dilberito, which is a stupid fucking name.
Terrible.
The worst name.
And he also, I thought it was going to be Dilbur.
Me too.
R-I-T-O. But it's not. It's Dilbert, the E-R-T, and then I-T-O at the end.
I had to respell it on the top of my research document.
Yeah.
I spelled it the U-R-R-I-O-T way.
Yeah.
But he also is like, this is perfect for people who work in offices. If you're a Dilbert, if you're the dunce from the comic that I draw, you should eat my slop in your cubicle.
Yeah.
And they talk about it in the New York Times article, which I think is like the main primary like document. Like they interviewed him at the time, but Scott Adams Foods of Newton, New Jersey, calls it cubicle cuisine and dashboard dining. So it is like inexpensive, it's cheap, it has all of your nutrition, and you could like eat it if you're waiting in the green room of a speaking engagement that you're being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do, or even if you're just a lowly cubicle person in the eyes of Scott Adams.
Can we talk about the flavors?
I am obsessed with the flavors. Oh my gosh. What are the flavors, Adam?
They are Mexican, Indian, barbecue, and garlic and herb.
Two of those are nationalities of guys, and not so much, I guess Mexican is a cuisine, but pretty broad,
Yeah.
pretty not ideal.
No.
Indian. Did you see what the images were like? On the website, they had little graphics for each of the types of burritos that it was.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So Mexican is 2 little beans. Indian is a little chili pepper. Barbecue is tomato for some reason. And garlic and herb is like a head of garlic. And if I'm going to be very honest with you, it doesn't look like Scott Adams drew these.
No, definitely not. Jef, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you read the copy at the top in your best copy voice?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love this shit. This
Yeah, I know.
All right. This is for the Mexican, the Dilberito Mexican variant. An authentic fajita flavor with just the right amount of heat for a Mexican food fan. This south-of-the-border handheld meal is accompanied by a 1-ounce packet of Scott's favorite salsa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think that you should, first of all, if you're just going to name them after, dudes' nationality, the barbecue should be American.
Right.
And garlic
and
herb is
herb.
Italian.
Yeah. None of them sound, I don't know. None of them. I mean, the best version, you get the best chef, and you tell him these are the 4 burritos you have to make. None of them even would be good. They're just.
I mean, theoretically, a Mexican burrito
Right. Okay.
would be
Mexican burrito would be good. Fair. Fair.
I did watch. As kind of as a YouTuber, I don't know if I'm going to vouch for this guy or not. He had some language I wasn't wild about, but he went out of his way to recreate the Dilberito.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
It's from 2022,
Uh-huh.
and when you just straight up look at the ingredients on it, it's at least in the Mexican one, it's kind of normal stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've got them right here.
What's in that one?
Broccoli, black beans, corn, brown rice, soybeans, red pepper, green pepper, textured wheat gluten, and then some spices and almond milk and stuff like that. So they call them vegetarian, but I believe they're all vegan.
They are all vegan.
Yeah.
They maybe weren't trying to push the vegan thing in 1999, but they're definitely vegan.
Yeah. That is a good group of ingredients. Yeah.
And
although I will say I've never had a burrito with broccoli that is good.
Yeah.
Broccoli doesn't belong in a burrito. And I'm a vegan. I've had a lot of broccoli in a burrito.
They all came with a little sauce, like a special sauce.
Scott's
favorite special salsa. Or I think there was a mango chutney for the Indian one. Barbecue sauce for the barbecue one. I don't remember what was on the vaguely Italian one. But this guy, I watched this video of this young kid, Gen Z guy, making the burrito, and he's looking at the ingredients, and he subs out some soy rizo for some of the things, the wheat protein or the wheat protein, and he's it's good. But he's using good ingredients, and he even took a multivitamin and crushed up the multivitamin into the burrito to get all the extra nutrients that was missing from broccoli or whatever.
Right. So I don't think we've talked about the vitamins.
Okay. Well, these burritos were fortified, so they are supposed to have 100% of all it's supposed to be a multivitamin, right?
Yes.
The New York Times has this really insane headline for their article: "Eating well, at last a vitamin pill wrapped in a tortilla."
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
So what's all the nutrients in this bag?
Do you want me to read them all? There's a lot.
We don't need to do maybe all of them.
Vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, vitamin D, E, K, thiamine, all the B's, iodine, magnesium, zinc, copper, manganese, selenium, chromium, molybdenum. I don't know that last one. So one thing I would just want to say is that vitamins, there is a danger in vitamin toxicity.
I've read so much about this for these stupid burritos.
Right.
The Dilberitos. Sorry, I don't want to say that they're stupid. They're the Dilberitos.
And the idea of what 100% of your daily value, that's highly disputed. I mean, I know that the FDA probably publishes these guidelines, but a lot of people are like, no, I don't know about that. And if you were to eat, like, there's a danger of like iron buildup. There's a danger of zinc. Vitamin A is a big one. So like you can overdo it with these things.
I mean, they say like, especially with the iron thing, like if you eat a Dilberito that has 100% of your iron for lunch, and then you eat another Dilberito which has 100% of your iron for dinner, that could be very toxic for you.
Yeah.
And like I was seeing that a lot of the prevailing wisdom with vitamin intake, and people are talking about this as it relates specifically to the Dilberito, like your body can't process all of these vitamins at the same time. Like right. It can't process vitamin. It's got its vitamin B receptors, so it can take vitamin B6 or vitamin B12, but it's going to fill up with one and not the other, and you're missing out on that vitamin, right?
Yeah. I mean, this gets to the heart of this thing, which is the same with Silen, which we've talked about, which is this sort of tech bro kind of Silicon Valley mentality of like, well, our bodies are just machines. So all we need to do is just put the right inputs in, and then we'll get the right output. And that's the end. And with, taste, pleasure, whatever, that doesn't matter. Let's just get the stuff in there. And that's what he's trying to do here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you have the ingredients for any of the other ones. Did you send it and maybe it didn't print it out?
No, this was the only one that for whatever reason could load. The other ones had trouble loading.
Yeah, we went to the Dilberito website, which some of it worked. I assume you had the same experience I did, and some of it didn't work.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting that the only ingredients list is for the Mexican flavor. So I would be deadly curious to know what's in the barbecue version. I mean, it's probably like black beans and like soy protein and things like that, cabbage maybe, but you could get away with a frozen Mexican burrito, but when you start making like fusion burritos, like an Italian
Indian
burrito,
sounds bad too.
Yeah. I've had some Indian Mexican fusion that's good, but this is probably not it.
Yeah.
So
they also had a flash game.
Yes. Did you watch the video of the flash?
I watched the video.
What's going on in that flash game?
Dilbert is first he tries to avoid dangerous things
like knives?
Yeah, something like, I forget exactly what they were. We could pull it up. But then the next level, he tries to eat things, ingredients, fresh, healthy, vegetarian ingredients. And then it says Dilberito at the top.
Okay. Sounds stupid.
Yeah, very dumb. Looked really poorly made. Looked like somebody made it in about a day.
So let's get into, all right. The New York Times article, I've got to say, like, I mean, they did talk with a nutritionist about this, and they say, like, I don't know any evidence that having multiples of the recommended daily allowance is better for you than having your RDA at once. At some point, you have to start worrying about how many foods are being supplemented. And she starts talking about, like, you can enrich or add supplements to all these foods, but you're still missing, like, some of the quality of the actual fresh vegetables. I mean, she mentions lycopene in tomatoes, which maybe they've synthesized lycopene now, but at the time they were not putting lycopene into this bad burrito. And she says that their potassium versus sodium arrangement was not ideal for health.
Okay.
She says, we haven't figured out a pill that replaces everything that's good for you. And so she's like, you know, eat different things at different times of the day and you'll have better benefits than just having Silen or Dilberito. And apparently, it tastes very bad. Yeah. Do we want to talk about the bad taste or do we want to do a little marketing first?
Yeah, let's do marketing.
Okay, sorry. Well,
no, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about the flash thing. You've seen the package of the Dilberito, right?
Yeah.
It looks so bad.
It's terrible.
It's the most ugly thing in the entire world. I will just tell you, I was designing a resume for a friend recently, and I had one font, and I had the plain version, the bold version, and the italic version of the font in the same resume. And my friend said, it looks like a goddamn ransom note. Cut it down to 2.
Interesting.
That's just the same font. That was Helvetica. She didn't want any italic Helvetica on this resume.
Just bold and...
Just bold. She said, otherwise, the Dilberito logo is every letter is a different font. It says, we make it easy to eat. and the kerning underneath it is horrifying. It looks like you were saying they made the Flash game in one day. I think they designed the logo in like 1/2 of a day, 1/4 of a day.
Right.
Literally one of the ugliest packages I've ever seen.
It's pretty shockingly bad.
It does have Dilbert on it.
Of course.
He's got his arms up, and he never really had eyebrows much, if I remember. He's got really weird eyebrows on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't
like it's
have.
an off-model Dilbert.
Yeah, that's right.
And
oh, it's got so much text. Like here, it says 100% of your daily. It's just got. It's like Burt Ward's dog food. It's just
very chaotic,
crammed with text. Yeah,
because they didn't know how to sell it or really market it, I guess. But it's just a hideous box.
Yeah.
That's the Indian one.
Yeah.
Can you see any of the veggies in there?
No.
I see some peas.
Yeah, peas. That's all. It's very, very low res. Corn, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I like the trademark on Dilberito. He thought he was going to make a lot of money.
Almost as big as the actual O that it follows.
Yeah.
This is like the font choice and the color choice, like, as a design guy, is absolutely baffling to me. The DIL are the same red, and then none of the other letters are the same color.
That's weird.
And they're all like a really like toxic Q, toxic hue, and then it's like, but bright neon colors behind the bad.
Gosh, look at the brown of the eye.
Yeah.
These are the worst colors you could possibly choose.
It's hideous.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have that. I don't know what that specifically is. Is that from the website?
This looks like something you would give to a. Wait, it says restart. Yeah, this must be from the website.
Okay, because that is all Comic Sans, one of the most upsetting fonts to most of human society of all time.
Oof.
Really, really ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Just as ugly food made by ugly men. Ugly on the inside. I don't want to speak bad about anybody's looks, and I don't know. Do you know the other guy from the? Oh, he called it the Dilberito is made by the Scott Adams Foods Company.
Mm-hmm.
What a horrible name for a food company. Like, would you name your food company after yourself?
Absolutely not.
Scott Adams Foods Company presents the Dilberito. TM.
He said that one of the reasons why it failed is that another burrito company purposefully stacked their burritos on top of his in the supermarket shelf.
Mm-hmm.
He claims that it was sabotaged.
I mean, does I guess like when it comes to like merchandising, like a better, bigger, more well-known burrito company would have some pull.
Yeah.
I had read something somewhere that all of the Dilberitos were always stacked on the bottom shelf.
Because he couldn't afford to pay for the better placement. Yeah.
Yes. But so it is Scott Adams Foods Company is Scott Adams and Jack Parker, who is a food research and development veteran, apparently.
Okay.
And this article from the Dilberito website does say that, if I could read this to you, Scott Adams is enjoying creating a corporation modeled after tenets set forth in his best-selling book, The Dilbert Principle. And these are those tenets. Create a vision, hire good people, then get out of the way. Okay. So if Jack Parker, and I don't know anything about him other than he's involved with the Dilberito, but if Scott Adams said, here's the idea, get out of the way, then Jack Parker did some real bad design and some real bad choices.
Yeah.
But we know how bad Scott Adams is of a dude, so it's probably we could just blame him for the bad choices.
I think it's fair to blame him, for sure. Oof.
All right, so I guess the main thing that we've also been dancing around is that reportedly the Dilberito tasted like shit.
Yeah.
Apparently very, very bad tasting. All of the articles about it at the time say, oh, it's like very nutritious for you, but does it taste good? Maybe not. The New York Times article, which I don't have the date for it, unfortunately, but it's like probably 98, 99 when they were developing the product. It goes on and on about the health benefits, and it kind of uses the Dilberito as a way to speak with a nutritionist and kind of get a sense of whether having like all of this nutrition in one hit is good or bad for you. And so it's pages and pages of that. And then the very last paragraph says, taste, texture, Dilberitos, which are $2.29 to $2.69 each, could have been designed only by a food technologist or by someone who eats lunch without much thought to taste. But that makes them pretty much like every other microwave frozen burrito. So that's all they say about the taste of these burritos, which is indicative of them not being so good.
Right.
Did you find any reviews of the Dilberito?
No, I think I found that quote, and everybody basically, absolutely nobody liked it. I feel like they're being harsh to other microwave burritos, which can be satisfying if you're drunk enough, and you don't burn your mouth on the 7-Eleven microwave heat.
As a quick aside,
Yeah.
I watched this young kid eat the Dilberito, recreate the Dilberito, and then eat it. And he said, I mean, I guess I would have one of these, but the whole point of having a microwave burrito is you got to smash two of them.
Oh.
Are you smashing two microwave burritos?
It depends on the size.
Okay.
I mean, if it's one of those big
That
ones.
sounds like a yes to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Some of the best burritos are tiny.
Okay. The only real microwave burritos I really get down with is it like the Amy's one, the Amy's organic ones? And those are, that's one and done for me.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think the ones that you can get at 7-Eleven are not good, but they're $3. And if it's 2 a.m. and you're kind of drunk, then they're pretty good.
So, also Scott Adams had some pretty nasty, unpleasant stuff to say about his Dilberitos, like down the line, like
About the fiber.
do you have that quote?
No, I know.
He says it had like so much fiber to it that if you took 2 bites, you would like your intestines would fart out a tail or something to that effect.
Yeah.
It's like really gross and disgusting.
Yeah.
But that is his acknowledgement that it like maybe didn't taste so good and maybe was a bit misguided of a concept to start with.
Right.
This is like a decade at least after the failure of the Dilberito.
Right. Again, I'm sorry to be this guy. If you're eating fiber and you start to fart a lot, that means you're not eating enough fiber and your gut bacteria, you need to eat more fiber over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Scott Adams, I mean, theoretically he should be a healthy eater. I mean, he's vegetarian and rich.
Yeah.
So, but he probably is not eating well and had some gross remarks about the Dilberito. I was very upset that I never got to try one.
Yeah.
So I think they started out in health food stores, and then by 2003 they were more 7-Elevens and gas stations, which is appropriate for a frozen burrito. You're just saying you like a 7-Eleven frozen burrito.
Yeah.
And maybe they could have found more of a market there. They were discontinued in 2003, and Scott Adams said he was mad that they were always on the bottom shelf at places, and he said the transportation cost was also quite a lot. I've watched enough Shark Tank to know that getting into like the commercial food space is really, really challenging.
Yeah.
Like, when you bring if Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy, brought his Dilberitos on the Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful would say like, do you know how much you think it costs to get that shelf space? Like that primo shelf space, like it's really hard to get shelf space in a grocery store, in a convenience store. And I think my assessment is that the Dilbert guy, Scott Adams, was a very successful cartoonist and very successful writer and thought he could do whatever he wanted. And this proved to be a bit of a catastrophe, would you say?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Contributed maybe to his like weird grisly resentment in the 2010s and 2020s.
100%. Yeah, it lost a lot of money.
Do you have the number?
No, I thought I did, but yeah, now I'll cut this part out. But
well, I keep circling back to I was very sad I never got to try one. I thought it would be like, and again, I've since had Silen. We've talked a lot about Silen on this show, where I thought Silen was like vile and despicable. And maybe part of that is like, well, if Scott Adams can make a burrito that has all of the ingredients in it, why can't Silen like be more than just like a white paste that tastes like Tums, I guess? I thought that it was a lack of imagination on the Silen people. Like, again, I think that the whole idea is very stupid, knowing what I know now.
yeah,
But the concept of the Dilberito blew the 15-year-old version of me away. I was like, that's so smart.
Okay.
Scott Adams is a genius. This is going to be great.
yeah,
And I looked for them. I never saw them. I didn't know any of this saga of the Dilberito until today. So I found out that Scott Adams died. And if you told me it never actually made it to market, I would have believed you because I never saw one. And it made no cultural impact.
One more thing I want to say about the grocery stores. On this website, it says, coming soon to Gelson's and Ralph's. I have a feeling they never actually got there.
I mean, you could say, if you have a website, you could just say coming soon to whatever. And that's totally unverifiable. I mean, obviously, we're looking at this, how much years later? 25 years later.
Yeah.
And we could say it probably didn't go to Gelson's or Ralph's, but you can't prove that in 2000. No, that's...
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Adam, on the Dilberito?
Let me just read a few quotes.
All right.
Scott Adams says, diet is the number one cause of health-related problems in the world. I figured I could put a dent in that problem and make some money at the same time. And then he also said he called it cubicle cuisine.
Mm-hmm. All right. And my final thought on this matter, Adam, from the About Us of the Scott Adams Foods Company's webpage. Scott Adams Food. Scott Adams' newest business venture promises to be the biggest success yet. It all started with Adams' search for tasty, high-nutrition food that fits the demands of his own 12-hour workdays. Love that big flex that he works harder than you.
Yeah.
That's why he's smarter and better than us. That's why
right.
he's a successful cartoonist.
That's right.
I've seen Dilbert. I've said nice things about the way that he draws. No way that takes him 12 hours to draw a Dilbert.
No. No, absolutely not.
Yes. Any final thoughts on your end about the Dilberito?
No, just that it's a shitty idea from a shitty man who is not with us anymore.
Yes.
And I'm not losing any sleep over it.
We didn't really invite any guests on today. We know a lot of cartoonists and a lot of people have been making fun of the death of Scott Adams, but I think it's okay for maybe you and me to do it and be nasty about it, to put out this podcast the day after he died, but maybe we didn't need to rope any other friends into it.
Yeah. I feel like anybody would have been fine. I don't know if his legacy needs to be preserved in that kind of a way.
Bad burrito maker, pretty good cartoonist, huge racist, piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yep.
That's the legacy of Scott Adams. Rip to that guy, I guess. All right. For Adam Fligsten and myself, Jef Harmatz, thank you for listening to Clean Up on Aisle podcast, the emergency episode.